Good morning and welcome.
Es un gallito.
Welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I'm the badass Buddha who apparently cannot speak this morning. So good morning and welcome to March. March starts a new month for us. As far covering this for this quarter, that in a moment. So good morning, happy Thursday. It is the first Thursday of March, last month of the third quarter. Oh, the third quarter. Oh my God. I didn't have my coffee today. The last month of the first quarter. It's a lovely day out today in southern Connecticut. It is cloudy. It's supposed to rain, but we had snow, and then the temperature's supposed to go up to 50. So bizarre stuff. Anyway, welcome. Happy that you are here.
Yes. Good morning to you. Buenos días, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita. It is International Month for Women, Women's Month, however you want to say it. You know, I never go with those things. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. But it is March. It is the end of the first quarter of last month of the first quarter of the year. So I think that sounds exciting. I think it sounds, oh my God, you know, we're heading into the third month into this 2023. And I think if you were with us from the beginning, I think we're doing fantabulous right now with the awareness and the acceptance and now the accountability. And I think, you know, let's just keep sticking together because we're going to be fabulous, darling.
We're going to be fabulous.
As it's going to be high 80s here in Tampa, Florida today.
If I could figure out how to share things, because
the loop.
Oh my gosh! All right, and then whenever I put like live now, it comes out as love now.
Yes.
I should just leave it.
That O and I always like the I always wants attention. It's a needy little fucker.
In this case, it's the O for me. The O always wants attention.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm almost there.
Okay,
and then it seems like whenever I can do this, then Gladiator Guru is able to do it.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, mi gente. You know, Tuesday and Thursdays have become it's like an imperative part of my morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And there are those days you just want to put the blankets over your head. And I'm sure it's like that more for the badass because it's cold over there. And sometimes it's darker than it is for me here. But we get up because we are aware that we do this at this hour and we hold ourselves accountable no matter what it is that we're going through. The loss of our parents, you know, the sadness in our souls of damaging love, unrequited love, past loves, you know, love, lack of love. We can name them all. And I think that when you stick to what you know and you continue to do good in what it is you do, all the negatives always have a way of just getting stuck somewhere, rolling down the hill, falling off a cliff, whatever you want to say it. Because this is saying that if you know better, you do better. Well, sometimes when you do better, you learn better. So there's really no wrong way of twisting that, just like there's no right or wrong way of learning to become aware and holding yourself accountable for what is important in your life. Are you done so I can stop preaching?
And the other piece, and that was a really good lead into accountability because you had said that famous Maya Angelou quote that when you do the best you can until you know better, and when you know better, you do better. And sometimes in your path, you do know better, but you still don't do better. It's like but you still don't do it because it has everything to do with what we believe ourselves to be and what we deserve. And that's where all of this comes into play. It's like if in that awareness piece in January, if you woke up to the fact that you are not living the life that you want to live, it's not to make you feel bad and beat yourself up about it. It's to just make you aware and to get you to feel some sort of way to say, I don't, either make a choice. Either I'm just going to let this ride out the rest of my life and live this way, or I'm not going to live this way. Then to acknowledge and accept that piece. So yes, I'm just going to live my life this way. I'm acknowledging that and I'm accepting that, and that's it. And then you have to say to yourself that I don't technically have the right to complain and bitch about my life because I've chose that. This is what I've chosen. I became aware of it. I acknowledged it. I accepted it. And that's where the accountability piece comes in. You have to be accountable to all of that. You can't blame other people for your life as it is. It's you. You have created that life and you're choosing to stay in there. However, if in that awareness you looked around and said, oh my God, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't even know what this is. This is a shit show. I don't know what this is. This is not what I signed up for. Boom, awareness. Then you acknowledged it and you accepted that this is where you are at this moment in time. And now the accountability piece becomes really, really important because now we're moving into the phase of, okay, I've got to take ownership of the parts that I played, the roles that I played in creating this. And so this becomes a very big empowerment piece. And a lot of people who are not comfortable with taking responsibility for their own shit are gonna fade away at this point. They're gonna pull away because they cannot let go of blaming other people for how their life has turned out. And maybe that's why there's hardly anybody on so far this morning.
Well, maybe I know, Prima. Thank you. Maybe it's not even about that. It's sometimes, to be quite honest and put it out there, people sometimes are just too lazy to attempt something new. And I never thought that, because when people define lazy, I'm sure they can come up with many different definitions. But, sometimes I would beat myself up when I was up till 4, almost 5 in the morning, and then I'll finally fall asleep, and then I wake up like around 10:40, almost 11, and then I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I overslept, but I didn't. And last night I'm talking to my niece, and I'm preaching to her what I needed to be force fed up every orifice in my body. Okay, through my ears, through my ass, through my mouth, everywhere. I needed to be told, go to sleep already. I was telling her, our bodies do not heal without the recommended amount of sleep, like deep sleep.
Correct.
Would you like me to get
Would you like me to get into the science reasons why we need to sleep?
Yeah, but you should. But I mean, I know that we need that. It's healing. But I mean, she looked at me like I was retarded because I'm the main one who don't sleep, and not because I can't, but. Like right now, I'm not painting, so I don't know. I don't know. I had to drink something chamomile tea last night, like pure chamomile tea, and I did feeling the effects. And so by like 1 something in the morning, I did turn the TV off, put my notebooks to the foot of the bed, and said, I gotta go to sleep. That was the first time I really held myself accountable to doing that. But go ahead, do explain, because you know what? We don't hear that part of it enough.
I'll make it very simple.
Are you laughing at me?
No. I'm going to make it really simple and quick. Okay. We have 2 parts of our bodies. We have a body that goes and a body that doesn't go. But, so we have the body that goes and then we have 3 parts. We have an even keel. We have a body that's going to go, and then we have a body that's going to rest. So the even keel is where we kind of want to be in a normal day. Just, it's like right now, we're pretty normal. But if we needed to get up really quick and do something really quick, we want to go into that go, go, go mode. So that's our sympathetic nervous system. That's our fight or flight fright. That's our get up and go stress response. It's beautiful, works beautifully. Okay. But takes up a lot of energy, spends a lot of energy. And when we're in this mode, our brain and body does not heal, cannot rebuild, because it has to shut that system down. Perfect. It's supposed to do that. Then we come back to that even baseline, great. We're in between. We're not awake. We're not like stressed out, but we're not sleeping. Then we go to sleep, we go into the rest mode, and all the other systems go down. Like they go into the sleep mode, like a computer, where they just sort of shut down. They're there, they're working, but they're there, they're quiet. And all the focus goes into your repair system and your digestion. That's why it's called the parasympathetic system is called the rest and digest and repair. So when we sleep at night, that is our greatest amount of digestion, breaking down, absorbing nutrients, which is what we need in our body, but it's also our greatest amount of repair. It's the greatest amount of rebuilding. That is why when we're sick, we get so tired when we're sick, because our body wants to focus all its energy and attention onto fixing and beating and battling that germ that has entered into our system. Yet we fight it. No, I got to get to work. No, I got stuff to do. I can't sleep, blah, 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 even though you're dragging. But when we are too much in that stress response, it's going to interfere with our ability to sleep. Then it becomes habitual.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not feeling stressed necessarily, but our body's gotten used to not sleeping, getting up in the middle of the night, doing this, not falling asleep fast enough, getting up in the morning. It has gotten used to that. And so we have to retrain it. So every time that we don't sleep, we don't repair properly.
You
That's
got
it.
that?
I do.
You got that, Margarita? Yeah, because I just think that's something that we need to repeat to people, because on top of that, we're not eating healthy. I mean, accountability is everything you put into your body, you put onto your body, what you do to your body. Because without taking care of that said body, then why the hell are you going to learn all this other stuff when everything's going to be holding you back? Your health, your lethargy, your mood swings, your psychoses of the mind. We really got to. So what are you putting into your body? Even the topical stuff you put onto your body causes damage. It's things we smell set us loose with. We can smell something and it'll shift our whole mindset. Like I remember back far back when I was a teenager. Right? And I used to always smoke weed, reefer, whatever it was called in my era. And until one day, at 16, they laced it with something. Okay, so took a trip, never touched the thing again. I smell it, and sometimes it brings me back to that time where I was 2 days floating and seeing through people. I was really on a trip, right? But for years after that, I couldn't smell strong colognes, perfumes. There was certain gas smells that I would hit in the street, and all of a sudden, I felt myself flying again, like in those brief minutes until I had a hold over. So there's a lot of things that you have to be aware of yourself, so that your habits and your mannerisms and everything you can hold accountable to. See, Lori, the badass, is the scientist in that part where she can explain those things. But we always speak about words and how we do this and how we do that. But really, it's everything around us. So that's why it's important for you to learn who you are, what you do, what you don't do, what you like, what you don't like, what you can and what you cannot do. In order for you to truly understand the environment in which you live in, and if you want to leave it, because certain environmental hazards are just that, they're hazards, and we think we have no way out of it. So to hold yourself accountable in everything you call life. So I couldn't smell certain things for a while. I would smell it. I would literally in that instant, see myself leaving my body. That's the trip I was on with the LSD they laced the reefer with, right? So I would literally see myself like being pulled out of my body, and I would see my body standing there. It was something I don't wish on anybody. It had to happen at that age. So I could never do anything else. I'm not ashamed of it. It happened. What the heck? At least it was just pop. But what I'm saying is, when we're aware of everything about us individually, then we're like Sherlock Holmes, Inspector Gadget, and MacGyver all rolled into one. We can see, hear, and smell shit a mile away. because we are so transparent with who we are that it's easy to read the room in everywhere we go, which will make you aware of who's who, of where you brought yourself to, all that, and hold you accountable for being there or staying there, not leaving. You understand? It might sound, it's not difficult what I'm saying. I'm just doing different scenarios. So when you know who you are, then you know where you need to be at all times. Then you need to know, you will learn to know who you want to share space with, whether it be in a restaurant, in a car, in a bed. Accountability is way bigger than what you think, what you put in your mouth, and just because it's in your size don't mean you can wear it type of dress code. It's bigger than that. It is like, what are we going to do everywhere we go? We can't control people. We can only be at peace with who we are and make sure to invite our power back for wherever we go and whomever we're around. That's holding yourself accountable. That's being an important part of society. That's being a leader. When you know who you are, you know how to handle everything around you. And the main thing that I want to say before I hand the mic over to the badass is, when you are aware of who the hell you are at all times in all scenarios, whether good, bad, chaos, tsunamis, cyclones, spring, summer day, be the best that you can be. And don't push blame on it. Well, I'm like this because they did. Or I only reacted like that because you didn't even hear what they whispered. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You probably didn't hear it right. It was a whisper. Well, I know them. They're always saying stuff under their breath. Then why are you standing next to them listening when you know that they purposely try to trigger you? You see, people say that I take the side of the asshole. No, I don't. What I'm trying to show you in that moment is, why are you allowing someone else to perturb you in the sense where you're yelling, throwing, crying, or feeling like a victim? Okay? The accountability always goes back to you. Oh, but you didn't hear this. No, and maybe I didn't need to hear, but maybe you didn't need to stand there. If you know that this person is constantly triggering you by whispering little smart remarks so no one else can hear it, then why the hell are you standing next to them? Or why haven't you built or grown a thicker skin if your choice is to stay with that person? Which I'm not saying it's wrong or right. That is your choice. That is your life. That is your cross to bear. What I'm saying is, if you know this is how this person is, start growing some thicker skin. Hold yourself accountable to the choices you make. And stop blaming other people for upsetting you. You are in control of everything that is you. And that's why this month is very important, because people will trigger you. I'm not saying they don't. That little whisper that asshole is saying for only you to hear is to purposely make you get upset so that you can seem to everybody else like you're crazy. Like you want to, that you want to start problems where there is none. That you always want to argue, but all the while they're tantalizing you. It's all your choice ultimately, but it's really up to you to decide how you are going to navigate those emotions. That's all it is. And that's holding yourself accountable to the people, places, and things you choose to be in the center of. That will change your life, but only if you want it. Because what's the old saying? Take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Your turn. And I got to go get some more black coffee.
Oh, so today starts the month of accountability. It's, are you ready to be accountable? So that's what we're going to pose the question. This is going to become a very uncomfortable month for some people, because having to take responsibility of your life has been probably the biggest challenge and the reason why things haven't changed. It is, by all accounts, so much easier to blame other people for your life, for all the things that have gone wrong. Like, we always want to take credit for ourselves in our life for the things that went right. Yep, I did that. That was me. But when it comes to the bad stuff, we don't want to take accountability for it. It's so much easier to blame somebody else. Now, we're not saying that you're going to take full accountability for everything that has gone wrong in your life. You only take accountability for the things that you were a part of, that you made choices of, okay, or for. So in other words, if there was two of you that were involved, or three or four of you in this situation, you can only take accountability for the role that you played. Okay. And you have to really, this is where awareness and acknowledge and acceptance come back into play. Because you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to be aware of the picture. You have to be aware of your role. You have to acknowledge and accept the role that you played, and then be accountable for it or to it. So accountability, we're going to be talking about accountability the entire month, and we're going to get really in your face about it, because until you actually say to yourself, wow, that was so my fault. That situation, this is what I did. This is what I allowed. This is what I stepped into. This was what I played into. This was I because when your life is going in a certain way all the time, yeah, there are other players in there, but you are still the one making the decision for yourself. So if you are letting other people lead the direction, lead you, that is the accountability piece that you have to acknowledge. You have to acknowledge the fact that you let the other people do that. That you, when you say, I had no say so, I had no choice, everybody has a choice. There are very limited circumstances where somebody does not have a choice. I actually thought that there were no circumstances, for in my transformation, I thought to myself, truly, everybody always has a choice. Like when somebody says, I had no choice, there's always a choice. The problem is there's a choice that you don't want to take. So everybody technically does have a choice. But I have come across some women, for instance, that have very extenuating circumstances where there are so many obstacles that their choices are limited. And I'll give you an example. So I work with a lot of women that have been in abusive situations. I'm not talking necessarily physically abusive, but I'm talking about mentally and emotionally abusive. And I speak to women from around the world. Like I actually have had many conversations with women from Southeast Asia and the Middle East. And culturally speaking, it is much more complicated for them to get out of their relationships than it is in, let's say, the United States. They don't have the support system. They don't have the money. There's so many things. So when we're discussing things with them and they're telling me, I don't really have much of a choice, I have no right to say to them, oh yes, you do. You have all the choices in the world, because you're choosing to stay. That's not necessary, and that would be really wrong of me to ever say that. That's very judgmental. So it was a learning experience for me, that I had to understand that sometimes there are extenuating circumstances. However, we have to take accountability for elements of our life. Okay. So prior to getting into these relationships, without those extenuating circumstances, like some of the women I spoke to were arranged marriages. They had no say so. They had no say so in choosing the person. They had no say so in confronting their parents about it. So those are extenuating circumstances. But for the vast majority, we allowed all the events to happen in our life. We allowed them. We went the direction we went because we allowed it. We might have been pushed, but we allowed ourselves to be pushed. And that is the hardest part for people. The hardest part for people is to acknowledge the fact that they are being pushed, because they'd much rather say, oh, that person pushed me. That person made that decision for me. That person was controlling for me. I have been in many controlling relationships. We're not just talking about significant others. We're talking about friendships, bosses, family members. And I had to own that piece. I had to own that piece that I allowed it. I chose to keep my eyes wide shut. I chose to keep blinders on. I chose not to see the red flags. I chose to ignore signs, to ignore my gut, to ignore my intuition. I chose that, and then kept being led down a path that was not meant for me. I had to take accountability for that piece. In the beginning, it sucked, because I just wanted to say, oh, it's his fault or it's her fault or it's they did this to me. It was so much more fun to do that and so much easier. But when I started to really look into it, and when I looked at my life as a whole and said, okay, my life has not gone the way I wanted it to. I'm miserable. I'm very unhappy. I'm very depressed. Why do these things keep happening to me? The same things. And then I said, what's the common factor here? And it was me. Different players, but I was the only one that was the common person. So if I'm the common person, if this quote keeps happening to me, then I have to be playing a role to be attracting this or allowing this. And so once I twisted that and figured that piece out, that's when I said to myself, oh my God, okay, I am that piece. I have to take accountability for what I refuse to see, what red flags I pay attention to. Because in in looking back, because we don't want to live in the past. All we want to do is look back at the past and learn from it. Oh, this is what happened. I see it better because you're a different person. You're seeing, you have more awareness. I looked back and I said to myself, oh my God, that was a red flag. Why did I allow that? That was hindsight was incredible for me, but I didn't want to see it because that is what I decided to do. And Gladiator Guru before was talking about belief and habits. That is what we're going to be talking about the next quarter. So starting April, May, and June, the second quarter is we're going to be talking all about that, how to retrain your brain, how to create new habits, new behaviors, and change your belief system. So we're going to be talking about that piece so that you can start taking action. But it starts with the awareness, the acknowledgement, the acceptance, the accountability. So that's what this whole month is about. So when I looked at that and I said, oh my God, like there were red flags all over the place. There were so many things that anybody else would have said to me if I had told them this was happening. They would have been like, are you crazy? Why are you allowing that? What are you, that's, you're not seeing it the way it really is. So I had to acknowledge that. And the tough part about it, and this is what we're going to help, this is why we're going to do a whole month on this. When you acknowledge knowing that you made those choices in the past that to where you are right now, the bad stuff I'm saying, you will go back into a little bit of a depression. You will go back into a little like beating yourself up. Like, God, I'm so stupid. God, I'm so this. I'm so not worth it. I'm so blah, blah, blah. Because you're going to make yourself feel bad because how did I not see this? How did I not know this? Why did I do that? Why did I allow them? And that is, again, you bring back to the awareness, you bring back to the acknowledge and acceptance. You have to accept the fact that this is in the past and it serves you nothing to go back to that emotion. So you have got to bring it back to you. Okay. And acknowledge and accept, but be accountable. Okay. So now I'm being accountable to myself today. And with that, I have to go to the bus stop. All yours, Gladiator Guru.
No one told me that I've been talking all this time on mute. I'm so sorry. And it was so deep. Anyway, as Lori was saying, healing is a tricky little fucker. It's going to bring forth a lot of different scenarios of your life. You're going to roll all these films, all these classics, right? That had you as the victim, because you most likely probably were. But when you heal, you got to bring forth those moments in your darkness where the courage and strength came out, to have you sitting with me today, reliving all those stories from your past. So when you come forth in healing, and the band-aid was pulled off so hard you're burning, the scab was pulled off, or you're eating your nails down till there's none. Sometimes we got to go through that. Sometimes we got to feel the physical pain to somehow understand the spiritual pain, the emotional pain, the mind fuck of all your feelings. Sometimes that's what has to happen. It has to match in order to really wake you up and shake you up and make you realize, okay, all of this happened to me, but how am I alive today? Because you are. That is that simple. And although you were in pain and agony, although you were being abused, there was still that warrior within you that said, I got to get out of here. And you did it. You just did it your way. And your way might not seem logical to someone else on how they got out, but it doesn't matter. The bottom line is you got out. And that's the story I want to hear. That's holding accountable. Yeah, I was abused, because there's a tricky little doorway that opens up and closes, opens up and closes. Hold on. And that is that when we have been abused, which I can say the majority of us have been, do you stay as that victim, or do you become the superhero of your story? Because you are. Because if we're talking today, all these years after somebody abused us, then we are the victors, because we got out. And that's because your courage and your strength was stronger than your fear. But we don't give it as much love and attention as we do the abuser, who doesn't deserve a memory cell to be wasted on them anymore. But the story we stick to is the woe is me story. Well, as women of the world, as this is the International Women's Month, let's start tugging in, pulling up the you that got you out of everything you've been through. Bring forth that strong, courageous woman that lives within. She doesn't only got to come out when there's trauma. She should always be standing beside you, because she pulled you through. Now that's the story we want to hear. That's the story I want to hear when you come to me for coaching. Let me know why you're sad, why you have feeling it. What do you think is holding you back from being the best you can possibly be? But after the third time, I don't want to hear the story, because you know how many people I've spoken to, and it's our third or fourth time, and I'm reading back to, and you know what's their biggest response? Nada, tell me if this happened to you. I know, but you don't understand.
You don't understand.
And then anyone who knows me, I'd be like, I'm done. You know why? Because you want to keep going down what was me lane, and bitch, I need the speedway, because I'm going places. And sometimes we are the biggest abusers in our lives. How's that for accountability? Not only do we continue to abuse our memories, our emotions, how we make our bodies feel like they're constantly seizuring, because every time you bring up a memory of abuse, the body keeps score. So it remembers. Then you start itching, or you start getting backaches. Listen, your joints start getting tight. Listen to your body. When your mind starts going somewhere it has no business, because that bridge was destroyed, but you keep trying to rebuild it. Everything about you is you're forcing it to remember a trauma. because you want a story to tell. Well, stop telling the story. Tell me how the hell you put that shirt on with that big F on your chest that means fuck off, and you dug yourself out of that grave. Because that's the story that your mind, your heart, your soul needs to remember. Stop abusing yourself by remembering all that. And then in the interim, you're not where you want to be. Then you become your biggest bully because now you're saying, oh, look at you. You're stupid. You're fat. Look at this. I can't wear that. I can't do this. It's because 20 years ago when blah, blah, blah. And that's why I can't do this. You know what? Everybody plays the violin.
Yeah,
And
you
be
want to.
self-accountable. And I'm not here to make you feel good. The badass Buddha can explain something to you in better ways. But you know what? When you don't live for who you were born to be, stop blaming everyone around you, because nobody can fuck you without your consent.
Yeah, it's hard to really accept that. Like everybody pretty much knows my story. I mean, my story was that I hit my rock bottom place because I found out that my husband, who I'd been married to 11 years with 14, was cheating on me the whole entire time. Like the whole entire time. Like he was a papichulo. He was a player. And I didn't it hit me so hard because I was convinced that there's no way in hell that this person would ever have done something like that to me. Plus, I would not have seen it. What I didn't know, what hit me harder was the fact that I didn't notice it, or that I did, like, I didn't see red flags, that I didn't know what hit me hard, that he did it, or that I didn't notice it. But it was all at the same time. Because my first marriage, I was the other woman. I found that 9 months into the marriage that I was the other woman. And he and I broke up and got back together, got back together. But he was a cheater too. And I was young and stupid. I kept believing that he said, "Oh, I'm not going to do it again. I'll change." So in the second relationship, I made that pretty clear. Very first date. That's not going to, I can't be with somebody like that. And he said words, and I say this in the book. I say this in, I believe it's Her Badass Story #1, was he said, "I'm not that guy." And I believed it. I wanted to believe it because I couldn't go through that again. So I took his word. I didn't research it. I didn't double check. I just took his word. And so with that came up the blinders. So I had to take accountability in the end for seeing things, refusing to see things, all those red flags, refusing to follow my gut. And it sucked. It really sucked because I had to, I couldn't take responsibility for his choices. I couldn't say it was my fault that he cheated. Fuck that. It wasn't my fault it was his fault that he cheated. It was his fault that he slept with those women. It was his fault that he did all that stuff. But I had to take accountability for what I refused to see that was right in front of me. And that I wanted to believe what I believed. And that's what brought me all those years. So what turned out to be a really awful time in my life turned out to be the greatest thing that ever happened, because it actually finally woke me the fuck up. Like, this was 30 years. So this happened when I was just shy of being 46. I was 45 years old. This was 30 years. So go back 30 years, that's 15. When I started to put blinders up because of relationships that I was in. And it started to create the person that I became as an adult, where, oh yeah, you could just do that because she's not going to say one word. She's just going to let you fuck her over. She's going to let you do this. Those were all my choices. And all those years of depression, they flopped out of the way, because when I finally took ownership of myself and said, oh, fuck, that really sucks. 30 years, that sucks that I allowed that I made those choices, that I chose to be around these people because I allowed myself to be mesmerized, duped, whatever it is. It was all me. It was all me, which means this is the beauty. If I allowed it, I could disallow it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beauty of taking charge, taking accountability, is that I'm owning that, which means that I can choose not to let that happen again. Okay, well, how do you choose not to let that? If you're not really good at seeing these people, no, that's just it. I believed I wasn't good at seeing these people. I know now that I am good at seeing these people. Because now I'm more aware. I started to look back at the behaviors, the things that they said, the way that they acted, the how they manipulated situations. I looked back at that awareness. I accepted and acknowledged that that was what was going on, and I chose to do nothing about it because at that time I didn't know how. I'm accepting and being accountable to, I mean, being acknowledging that. I didn't know how, but now I do. And I did extra work. I did the work to make myself accountable, to make
Mm-hmm.
myself like to understand it so that it wouldn't happen again. But I always have to be vigilant. I still have to always be very aware because the wolf comes in sheep's clothing often. And sometimes the disguises are pretty good. Some of them are so obvious, you're like, you got to be kidding me. But then there's sometimes where it's pretty good. It takes a couple of tries, it takes a couple of interactions where you start to, oh, okay, wait a minute. I'm not hyper vigilant. I'm not paranoid. I'm not like angry, hateful, distrusting. I'm like, nope, I got a boundary. Here it is. I'm going to be aware of the situation. I'm acknowledging and accepting. And then I get to decide accountability. I get to decide, nope, I'm good. I don't need to be around someone like you. Or, well, maybe, this would be great to have you in my inner circle. But the accountability piece, yes, it sucks when we have to be accountable to the bad choices we've made. But the empowerment piece comes in when it allows you to be accountable to the great stuff in your life and the choices you will make now. Will you make perfect choices all the time as you move forward? No. You're still going to mess up. You're still going to be like, fuck, why did I do that? Like, what was I think? I thought I learned something. Awareness. You just made yourself aware. I screwed up. Acknowledgement, acceptance. I made a bad choice and this is what it is. And accountability. Okay, I still need to learn more.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to figure things out. It creates this circle of empowerment for yourself. We've given our power away way too much. When you are not accountable to your actions, you're giving your power away. So, guess what? You don't have the right to. You don't have the right to also take responsibility for the good things that you've done in your life. It doesn't work that way. You can't blame everybody for the bad stuff and then take full ownership of the good stuff that I did this. Nope. How about that? If you're not going to take full accountability for everything, then you don't get to take. So whatever good things that you've done, no, that was because somebody else helped you. You're not going to take accountability for that.
You have you have to come to terms that there's a choice to be made. And for every choice, whether it be good or bad, there are consequences. A lot of people fear the consequences. And then those
Yes.
are the people that I have encountered that don't like to make choices and who live blaming everyone around you are the quickest to be so damn defensive and sensitive. And it's like I have them like directly in my family, and I'm like, oh, here you go again. And that it doesn't faze me because, I already know that's their coping mechanism to hide behind their fear and their lack of choice to change. See, that's key. Now, we always have choices, right? We have two. Pick two things, balance them out that you can live with, regardless of any scenario you're going to be faced with, and choose one. The thing is, you're choosing for you. No one's choosing for you. Don't keep allowing people to choose for you to only complain. Well, see, they told me to do that. That's why I'm like this anymore. Accountability is very, very difficult. We're not here to tell you it's easy. What's easy is you sitting with yourself, getting to know yourself, and then making a choice. Choices are either you do or you don't. And you know how I make my choices? Because I know who I am. I know what I like. But the bottom line is, I don't care who agrees with me or not. I'm going to go with my gut, with everything. With everything. We don't get into politics, but let me tell you, when all this jab was going around from before it came out, I said, oh, they're going to come up with something. I'm not taking it. And I had a lot of people come to me arguing, and I argued back. But the bottom line is, I don't even talk about it with them anymore, because what it is. But what I'm saying, am I perfect? Hell no. Am I impulsive? Yes. Do I have a rage issue where I'm up in your face? I don't care if you're the executive director, the Pope. Yes. Am I going to strip myself from that? Hell no. Because it is who I am. What I've learned throughout the years is how to customize it to the people who deserve it. And there's some people that can't help being who they are. We're going to be nice about what I'm saying. So then, you know what? It's not about talking down to them. It's meeting them where they are and helping them realize the potential that lives within them, so that they may rise to whatever occasion they've dreamed of, they couldn't make.
Do you really believe that people can't help who they are? I think it's more that they don't want.
No, I didn't say that. I said meet them where they are.
No, you said before, you said people can't help who they are. And I think they can. They just don't want to, or they don't know they have a choice.
They don't know. That's why I said that. People can't help who they are because they've never found interest in themselves. Thank you. They've never found the interest in themselves to see anything different because they grew lazy with being where they're at. It's just like an entitled child. If you're raising a child and then you feel sorry for this child because they're an only child, so then you flood them with all these toys. And then when they do then when you take them out, you expect other kids to share their toys with your child because he's an only child. And well, it's not nice not to share. But then when those kids come to your house and he doesn't want to share because he's an only child, your response would be, oh, but that's his toys. He doesn't want anybody to touch it. So that's knowing not to know. Because when you know enough to know that you're over spoiling something of this kid, then you're taking him out and you're expecting everyone else to share with him. If anybody doesn't agree with me, say it. And everybody who's seen this, say it. And then when it's the other way around and people come to the child's house, then the adult is saying, the one that just 2 days ago said, oh, but you need to share with so-and-so because he's here to play with you. And now they come to his house and you're the same person saying, oh, well, I'm sorry, but those are his favorite toys and he doesn't want to share. You can't be both. So that's knowing and not knowing, right? So that's how when we are entitled, now the kid's confused. And that's what I meant by that. Sometimes people don't know because they haven't stuck to one thing long enough to know the difference, or they haven't been checked in the right way to where they know. Some people, but I said I was trying to be nice about it, but some people are just stupid and they need extra guidance.
Yes.
And by stupid, I mean you're not awake. You're not awake. Not stupid where you're unteachable, where you are unlearnable. It's like you have chosen to stay back and allow everything to be done for you. With some shit you got to do yourself.
The difference is this. The difference is once you are awake to it, once it is pointed out, once you are made aware of it, like, because people are, yes, that dense. They're completely clueless. They are not aware of what they are, what they're doing, anything. Once they are made to be aware, though, then they choose whether or not to be accountable to it. And especially, let's say if it's something bad, like if it's something that somebody has finally made them aware of, they have now become aware of it. And then they choose. See, that's where it flips over. When people say, I can't help be the person that I am. You already know that when you make the statement yourself, I can't help the person that I am this way. No, please don't do that. You're not taking accountability for yourself. You're saying you have acknowledged who you are. You are aware of who you are. Just say unapologetically, this is how I am. I'm not going to change. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Not I can't help. No. For you to say that means you can help. You can
Mhm.
help who you are because you are acknowledging. You just say, no, I own this. This is who I am. I'm okay with who I am, is what I'm trying to say to you.
Mhm.
That's accountability. That's accountability. It is owning self. Some Gladiator Guru said something very key before. She was talking about who she was, who she is. That is the most important key piece. This is what the first and second months of this year were all about. Knowing thyself. This whole quarter is knowing thyself. If you still aren't there, you've got to go back to January and you have got to be where you've got to answer those questions. Who am I now? Who am I now? I am aware that I am this person. Then you have to acknowledge and accept it. Yep, I'm acknowledging this is who I am, and I'm accepting this is who I am right now in this moment in time. And the reason you are who you are at this moment in time has to do completely with your past. It is all about your past experiences. This is where the past comes into play. If the person you are right now is not who you really want to be, like there's a lot of crap that you don't want to be that person anymore. You acknowledge, you accept it, and the accountability says that I allowed myself to become this person from these past experiences. You cannot go back and change the past experiences. You cannot go back and change your choices. You have to say, okay, what did I learn from those past
Yeah.
experiences? And who am I today? Who do I want to be for the future? So
Mhm.
become very clear on who you are right now. Who am I right now? Who do I want to be? Because who do I want to be is it's going to be the take action piece. It is the stuff that's coming up as we move into the year. You could start now though. You don't have to wait for us. But you have to acknowledge it first. You have to say this is who I am right now and this is who I want to be. And I've got to accept who I am because sometimes people don't even want to accept who they are. No, that's not me. That's
Because
not
they're
me.
afraid. Because they're afraid, and because they fed themselves so many lies, they don't believe there's anything. I talk to people, and it always brings me back to the Bruce Willis movie with the red doorknob when the kid's like, I see dead people, but they don't know they're dead. And I always, whenever I meet a person that you either have to walk away or you want to punch in the head to shake some things up because they're really like, oh, Maron, I'm a magnet for these type of people. Um, they know it. It's just too much work for them, or they've convinced themselves so much that the first things they always say is what they're not. Well, why are you defending that? So we ain't even talking about that. Well, at least I'm not blah blah. Well, maybe you are, but you brought up a key thing about you said about being, not being, if you want to change and figure out what it is you no longer want to be and change it, right? That's what you just got finished saying. Not in those exact words, it's not
Yes.
verbatim. And because you said be aware that you are rare, because we all are. And the magic of the chaos that we are is that we get to polish ourselves into the purposeful being we were born to be. And you know what? Nothing good is easy. Nothing good is easy. You got to work at it. You got to labor for your soul.
Well,
Same
at
way you
first,
labor for a company for 8 hours a day and go in when they tell you to and take a lunch when they tell you to and clock out when they tell you to, no matter how you're feeling. You have to just be as, if not more, committed to you in any sense of the way and be who you are. You know, I want to read some stuff that the comments that are here, but you know, you were saying something about people like, well, that's just how I am. Well, I know who I am. I've always known who I am. That's why I walked out of every relationship I've been in, and not because of cheating or because either one of us was cheating or anything like that. It was because I just didn't feel happy. I woke up one day and I said, I don't want to do this anymore, because we were at different sides of the pendulum. Like it went this way and that way, and we couldn't meet in the middle on anything. And I wasn't gonna grow old with that. So all of them I have left. I have walked out of apartments, fully furnished apartments. I just took my clothes, my books, and my kids. out of 3 of them. Had my husband been alive today, I would probably be walking out on him. Because when I'm not happy in a situation, I remove myself. I don't care what's at stake. And the thing is that if you know me and you know there's certain people I don't jive with, then don't bring them to me. Or don't say, oh, and then call me rude when I'm like, why are you saying hi to me? You know, I don't like you. Or why are you bringing me here when you know I don't care for these people? And because I said it in front of everybody, now I'm labeled as rude and mean. And what you were saying is own up to who you are in totality. And if you are a certain way, and then that's part of your tapestry. Don't let nobody change it, but be sure that it's who you are. And love who you are and hold yourself accountable, because not everywhere can you say, please don't speak to me. I have a problem with hypocrites and fake people. So I don't care where I'm at. I'm going to say, why are you speaking to me? Like, what the fuck? You know, we don't like each other. Don't pretend because we're in front of other people. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, because now you're making me be somebody I'm not, to impress or to not disrupt what's going on. Bitch, I'm a disruptor. So find out who you are. Be truthful to who you are. And if that's going to eliminate, because that was my next thing, you said something that brought me back to one of our shows, organize to eliminate. If that's going to eliminate people out of your lives who want you to behave in boxes according to where you go, then start the elimination process. Evict motherfuckers from your life that aren't serving you, that aren't walking with you into the promised land. You don't need the ones anchoring you down because they're afraid to make changes. So they're ridiculing you for being who you are, having you question, well, am I rude? Am I mean? Do I make people cry? Am I too rough around the edges? You know, I've asked myself that sometimes. People be crying. I'm like, why are you crying? And then all of a sudden I'm this mean person. And then I'm like, fuck that. You got issues, not me. I'm asking a question. And you know what? Am I perfect? No. Do I hurt people's feelings? Yes. Am I going to continue to do it? Yes, because I walk in my truth, and not a lot of people know how to just drop all the triggers. So everything triggers them. And you know what? I don't walk on eggshells. So you have to determine, are you going to be the one walking on coals of fire to get to the other side of where you need to be? Or are you going to hold yourself back because you might offend somebody? Or are you going to hold yourself back because you don't believe in yourself enough? If you don't believe in yourself enough, talk to somebody. There's many people out there. Watch our shows. Contact us. The bottom line is, let's hold ourselves accountable. We don't know where this world is going. So let's build that strength that we already possess. Let's do it for ourselves and our family. And then see where we go from there. Go ahead, Laura.
Yay! That sounds great. I don't know. There's nothing left to say, and it's the end. It's the end of the show.
Okay,
So
but I just wanted to read something. Beatty said, I feel that not till I could say it out loud and hear myself say it, I was not able to heal from it. And thank you, because if you remember, it wasn't until last year in El Camino to start healing from my abuse. And I feel good. Lydia said, good morning. Good morning. Buenos dias, Lydia. I love when she always comes on. I think she's in Florida. Someone else said something. Tata, good morning. Thanks for your wonderful words from Lydia and Tiffany. I was wondering where you were, Tiffany. Good morning, beautiful tribe. Sorry I'm late at the doctor's. Well, thank you for joining us in your doctor's office. Gwen, good morning. Yeah. And Diana Negron, good morning. I probably missed some people, but you know, we get on this tangent, and Lori is the only one that is like superb at welcoming everybody. So, you know, that's why we're the duo, because where one fails, one excels. And when you can be aware of that and accept it and be accountable for what you can't, what you don't do and what someone else does, then you know what, that's it's not that I don't want to learn. I don't care to, well, it's not that I can't learn it. It's that it's just not part of my resume. And when you know what you're good and not good at, and sometimes you want to excel at something, I don't need to do everything. That's why there's different people in this world. I don't need to know how to do everything. I don't want to learn everything, because then it misses the opportunity of having a co-host. Because if I could do all that, then I wouldn't need a co-host. You see? So know where your limits are.
That's the only reason you have me?
No, I'm just know what your limits are, know what you're capable of, know what you don't want to learn. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to learn everything. Stay in your lane. You avoid traffic and buildups,
So.
and then build on what you can do. So be the best that you can be where you're standing right now, and then make a list. And I've ever since we talked, I hate lists, but I've seen it in action, and I see how well it does. Right, badass. So the thing is that, yes, not stupid choices. So be the best you can be, and I try to write everything the badass Buddha was saying, because we hadn't had this conversation, and it was very intriguing what she was saying. So for those coming on now, rewind, because I tried to write it. That's where I came out with healing is tricky. I wrote bullying. I wrote continual abuse of past memories. Acknowledge. I wrote about organize to eliminate. There was so much coming, and I'm trying to write down as key points to speak on what I felt was so strongly what she was saying. So I'm gonna have to rewind and listen. So remember that when you hear two different people speaking from two different sides of the spectrum with different tones of voices, but with the same message, to be the love of your life, and by loving yourself through all the flaws, abuse and bullying and scars and wounds and stretch marks, you would discover the Wonder Woman that you truly are. And that's what we need to do. Okay, that's it. That's it from me.
All right. So welcome to Accountability Month. This is going to be a really important month, and you're going to want to listen to these shows over and over again, because this is really big. And, listen, we never really ask that much, but we are going to do it this year. We're holding ourselves accountable to this piece. If you like this content, share it with your own tribe. We want to build this tribe up bigger. We want to empower people, women, men, whoever. Good morning, Arlene and Darlene Kelly. Glad you jumped on.
Hello,
we
girls.
want to empower women and men to be able to make great choices in their life and become better versions of themselves, because we need these people in the world. We have too many dumbasses out there running everything, and we need to create people that are willing to step up and being accountable and being kind and compassionate, but also very strong with healthy boundaries. So this is important to us to get the word out there. So please, like, subscribe, share, do it as much as you can. Whenever you see that post come up, go onto our page and then pull it over and share it into your world and say, please, check this out, even just for a few minutes. These ladies are fabulous. Put a little thing up there. Their information they're sharing is really important. And we want to build this up, and we appreciate you. Editha, you are correct. You are always sharing. You're always bringing people into the tribe.
I love that she said the committee. She's a welcome committee.
You're the welcome wagon. And we talk about this all the time. We so acknowledge this, but I guess we don't really acknowledge it enough, out loud. So thank you. Anyway, I just want to say, so get ready. Accountability Month. Okay. So here we go.
You have some news, don't you? Today's March 2nd. What's happening March 6th? And look, has anybody noticed that the badass Buddha is Viva out today? And I love it. I just got to get my shirt. I love you see the mug? Oh, red. I love the redness of it.
Well,
and
the mug has been there every
morning.
day.
Yeah, but then through the handle of the mug, I saw the shirt, and I'm like, oh my God, she's wearing the shirt. So
too.
Thank
I like
you.
the shirt.
I love it. I love when we support ourselves. Huge. But yeah, thank you, Editha. And we do have some stuff coming up for that. And but what do we have going on? What's today? The 2nd?
Today's March 2nd. So I've been slacking on posting. So March 6th is Monday, right? March 6th is the release of Her Badass Story 3, the ebook. And then March 13th will be the soft cover book. We are having our summit on March 11th on a Saturday night, and we are going to start sharing all that information so that you can order your ebook. We would love for you to order the ebook. It's not going to be very expensive, but we want to see the sales go up. We want to see the analytics go up. We have great stories, 8 authors sharing their stories. And so March 6th starts the release of the ebook. And then we would love to see you there for Saturday night, March 11th, her Badass Story 3 Summit. It's going to be very exciting. And thank you for reminding me to say something. So thank you.
Well, you know why? Because sometimes, mi gente, and part of this accountability, we have to hold ourselves accountable to compliment and celebrate others' achievements. When we inspire to empower other humans in the world, then we're doing a job way beyond the scope of many. So this is her project. She began with an idea. She did it. She did this whole project on her own. Okay, she thought she needed help, but in the end, she realized she could do it on her own, and she did it. And I am proud. I am proud to know that someone to do a whole compilation on herself, by herself, on her own. And so I'm kind of surprised she didn't want to announce this in the beginning, because this is our platform. And for our platform, this is where we plug in what we do. And I was waiting and waiting because I don't want to like put her on the spot. I don't know where she's at. And I just said, no mas, let's brag about it, because this is a great accomplishment. And
I just forgot.
When we do what we do, and then we take a step back from ourselves, and then we wait for other people to notice. No, let me tell you something. No, going forward, for anybody, I don't care if you painted your own nails in 20 different colors, that's artsy. Put it out there. You know, I'm always plugging in my Understand Her journal. They'll be coming in these sizes soon. I'm always plugging in now my art series collection of notebooks. You know why? Because it is my mastery. It is what I'm good at. It is who the hell I am everywhere I stand, because I am a traveling magician. The badass Buddha, she is opening doors that she never even thought she would cross into by handling this project on her own. So congratulations, Dr. Lori Monaco, for your accomplishments, and just move forward. And you know what? This is her Badass Story 3. For anyone who knows anyone, we don't know. Not until all of this is released if there'll be a 4. But her badass is you. And if you want your story to put out there of everything you went through, remember that in the story, you're pulling out your strength. And that's what we're going to showcase. So with that, we love you all. Have a great weekend.
Yes, have a great weekend. We'll see you next week for more accountability. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from Who Am I? The Gladiator Guru. Breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.